It's a point that can feel at once entirely banal and wholly offensive. We either know it already or may wince at such an overly direct mention. High minded people can be especially perturbed and have been since the dialogue of Plato and sermons of St. Paul. True love is about connection at the highest level. It's about shared interest, compatible worldview, and entire alignment on politics and the end of life. We have bodies naturally and certain ours along with them, but they do not and must not dominate the choice of the voice, except of course that in the clearest term the suit for we are never more panel and obtuse than when we refuse to give low priorities their due, be it before be verb, and to put it very gently, we need to make love and we need to succeed at relationship to do it very willingly at the level of ideas rather than performance and rather often in order to feel close in order to feel acceptable to ourselves, in order to reconnect with our body, in order to feel welcomed by our partner, in order to ease the tension of having large complex minds that believe they know more than they do. Yet how often, especially in the priorities of the so-called intelligent, this need is either relegated or ignored. There are so many other considerations. When we meet someone new, have they read Tolstoy or Kavai? Would they get on with our sisters? Do they like Bob Dylan? Would our friend like them? Are they as tidy or as meshy as we are? What do they earn? How tall are they? What can easily get lost is a much more fundamental question. How good is the sex? And here we need to admit there are vast variations. Sex is not one thing, though it took a lot of luck or experiences to realize this may be the case. We need once in our lives to enjoy superlative sex in order to have a benchmark by which to measure its varied instances. There are scholastic passable and forgettable sorts. They are kind of sex that unfold when the same fantastic exists as when the same tormos where sublimates into kinks when compatible childhood owns generating erotic currents. When we too want very much to do that things with the blindfold, the Kashmiri jumpers or the stripey shocks, we too want to think about the glances in the restaurant, the curses underwater, or the quiet tension in the library stacks. There is either alignment or there isn't. For more than we can admit, when a couple break up, when expensive laws are called, we don't need to search for explanations in the realms of values and ends. We need to look squarely at the love making. Did it happen often enough? Did two people want it equally? Were they each other's type? What were the two kings? And the tragedy is that so often the problem lays in very place the couple could not bear to explore how often misplaced sins or what could matter. They didn't want to think about their so-called perverted side. Neither side wanted to own up to what turned them on in private. They could overcome the shame of their strangers' visions by simply being very nice. They believed sex was not in the end as important as finding someone who also loved modern art or canonian, and thereby they destroy a substantial portion of their lives. The most expensive we have, the more you likely we to take seriously what every adolescent knows. Sex is very interesting, very stranger, and very key. We may to clever enough true intelligence means properly letting our bassers, blunters, and more compelling orgs have their way.